Hey everybody, Sweet Pete here. It's going to be a long one today. Haven't been on for a while. Sorry, apologize. I was a little discouraged over the last couple UFC cards during this pandemic coronavirus. I was discouraged because of the scoring, and this is what this video is going to be all about. It's all about the three judges in MMA. And if you go to Google and you type in UFC official scoring, you get a PDF. It's like a 17-page document. I printed out just the scoring. It's 2 pages, and if you could see, it says judging. And it's got a list of A through K, all the way onto another page. So pages 5 and 6. And it tells you exactly what the criteria for scoring and judging are. I lost some money betting on the fights. I put $40 down on Cerrone versus Anthony Pettis, and I lost that fight. And the truth is, Cowboy Cerrone won that fight. And this fight keeps coming back to me. It's a fight that bothers me the most because he was a favorite fighter of mine. He's had some bad luck in bad fights recently, but he's still a phenomenal fighter. Frankie Edgar versus Benson Henderson, number 2. That was a robbery. Frankie Edgar beat Benson Henderson 4 rounds to 1. Guaranteed. Maybe argue 3 out of the 5, but he won 4 out of the 5 rounds, and he did not get the belt due to that. And judging and scoring has been bothersome ever since. Now that I'm losing money, and all of you out there are losing money, this is bullshit, and we need to have fair and honest judging across the board. So I'm going to quickly go over the judging and criteria. So I believe Big John McCarthy is responsible for writing up the judging criteria for MMA. And here's what the judging says. It's the UFC official judging criteria. So it's number 14. There's a big list of all the rules of the UFC. This is just the judging subsection. So A, all bouts will be evaluated and scored by 3 judges who shall evaluate the contest from different locations around the ring/fighting area. The referee may not be one of the 3 judges. We all know this. I don't know if they necessarily have the 3 judges around the octagon in different areas. They're around the octagon, but they're not in different areas. I guess they're around the octagon in different placements, but one should be above, one should be below. There needs to be something done about the sound. They need to have only watching the fights, no sound. They need to have like ear monitor or earmuffs on or whatever you call them. B, the 10-point must system will be standard system of scoring about. Under a 10-point must system, 10 points must be awarded to the winner of the round, and 9 points or less must be awarded to the loser, except for a rare even round, which is scored 10-10. We know the 10-point must system is adopted from boxing. Fine. That's a good judging system. It just has to be used properly. And I don't know what these judges are seeing, how they can score fights the way they did. That Angela Hill fight, another one. These fights are, it's every card, 1 or 2 fights, absurd scoring. Fights that should be won, 29-28 across the board. All 3 judges, like, if you're insane if you don't see it that way, are seen 30-27 by one judge and 30-27 to the other fighter by the other. It's ridiculous. C, judges shall evaluate mixed martial arts techniques such as 1, effective striking, 2, effective grappling, 3, control of the ring and fighting area, effective aggression and defense. So 4. There's 4 criterias. So it's the effective striking, the effective grappling, the control of the ring, and effective aggression and defense. So evaluation shall be made in the order in which the techniques appear in C. That's above. So in the order. So striking is more important than grappling. That is one thing that I argue against. I think they should be on an even playing field. Given the most weight in scoring to effective striking, then effective grappling, then control of the fighting area, and effective aggression and defense. So there's arguments of what is effective control. A takedown without holding him down, is that really controlling an opponent? It is. If you take him down, he can't prevent the takedown. You've controlled him for that little time period. It shouldn't be considered a dramatic and serious thing, but if you can't hold him down. But if you take him down, it should be considered. D. Evaluation. Sorry, we're back on to E. Effective striking is judged by determining the total number of legal strikes landed by a contestant. So, for example, we got two fighters squared up. One jabs. He's up 10-9. He lands that strike. The other returns jab. That's a 10-10 fight. Fighter A jabs again. Fighter B misses. Fighter A jabs again. He's still up 10-9 because he hasn't rocked him, but he's winning the striking battle. F. Effective grappling is judged by considering the amount of successful executions of a legal takedown and reversals. Examples of factors to consider are takedowns from standing position to mount position, passing the guard to mount position, and bottom position fighters using an active threatening guard. So this is to be considered as well. Bottom fighters aren't always losing. You have a bottom fighter in his guard throwing elbows all the time, throwing punches, and you have the top guy burying his head like this. He's losing. The top guy is losing. He may have awarded the control for a temporary time of getting him down, but he's not controlling him on the ground. He's getting bashed up by elbows from the bottom. He's getting triangle attempts on him. He's losing if he's not advancing position, if he's just turtling up, if he's just laying and praying. That's not winning a fight. G. Fighting area control is judged by determining who is dictating the pace, location, and position of the bout. So right there I'm going to stop. So who's dictating the pace, location, and position of the bout? So the advancing fighter, the one who is not backed up on the cage, the one who is getting the takedowns, that is to be considered after effective striking and grappling. Examples of factors to consider are countering a grappler's attempt at a takedown by remaining standing and legally striking, taking down an opponent to force a ground fight, creating threatening submission attempts, passing the guard to achieve mount, and creating striking opportunities. So using good footwork to create strikes, you can be elusive and move, but if you're always on the defense and you're always counter-striking, you're not necessarily controlling the octagon. You're getting controlled and waiting for the counter. So if you're going to be a counter fighter who backs up and waits, that's a risk you got to take. In my opinion, you're giving up your octagon control possible advance by being a backed up fighter to land more strikes, which would give you an advanced score because you get better scores on the striking, which comes before octagon control. So this is why advancing takedowns, pressure is important and should be considered. I don't like it when they kind of dwell on grapplers for just taking fighters down and winning the fight that way. That's still a way to win. That is a smart, tactical, taxing way to win. You take him down, you hit him with punches, and you do it all over again, fine. To me, that's not boring. To me, that's a battle of will, a battle of skill. H. Effective aggressiveness means moving forward and landing legal strike. So effective aggressiveness means moving forward and landing legal strike. So you're not being aggressive if you're a counter striker. See, that's arguably a little too basic right here. This criteria. I. Effective defense means avoiding being struck, taken down, or reversed while countering with offensive attacks. So I don't know why they had to add with while countering with offensive attacks, but effective defense means avoiding being struck. So, bobbing and weaving, blocking. If you're blocking, you're avoiding it, but you're still getting hit. You got to get out of the way of strikes, not get hit, not get taken down, and when you are in position, not be reversed. J. The following objective scoring criteria shall be utilized by judges when scoring a round. Okay, so now we have some sub-criteria. So these are four different things. So number one is a round is to be scored as 10-10 when both contestants appear to be fighting evenly and neither contestant shows clear dominance in a round. So according to this UFC judging criteria, we need a lot more 10-10 rounds. That Angela Hill versus Claudia Gadelha fight should have been a draw. That last round was pretty even. Claudia was landing more powerful strikes. Angela was a more fluid striker, landing a little bit more volume. That was an even round. That should have been a 10-10, giving it an even fight. As Claudia won the first round, Angela won the second round. So why not have more even tied fights? Number 2. A round is to be scored 10-9 when a contestant wins by a close margin, landing the greater number of effective legal strikes, grappling, and otherwise maneuvers. Thus, if it's a kickboxing battle and two fighters are fighting, fighter A is getting the better of him with no knockdowns, no wobbling knees, nothing like that. That's a 10-9 round. Same goes with the grappling. If it's a wrestling style fight and there's takedowns and stuff, but no serious full mounts with straight out bashing, anything like that, where you're hurting your opponent to a degree of, the ref needs to stop the fight or the ref is, getting in there. That's a 10-9 round for the opponent who is more aggressive and landing the more effective strikes or ground and pound. 3. A round is to be scored 10-8 when a contestant is overwhelmingly dominates by striking or grappling in a round. So this is where I think 10-8s go to strikers a lot more than they go to grapplers. So a 10-8 should be, if you're a fighter A and you take down your opponent for the entire round, you're on top of him, you get position, you keep elbowing him, you keep punching him, you're in side control, he might get back in position, but you get it back, you get in full mount. You do that for 5 full minutes, that's a 10-8 round. That needs to be included. That's not a 10-9 round, that's a 10-8 round. As goes the same for a striker. You guys are striking close. This is a more dangerous game. It could be even, 10-10 even, not 10-9. And one fighter clips a nice punch to the jaw, clips the other fighter. He goes to his knees for 2 seconds, gets back up, he's okay, fight continues. That's automatically a 10-8 round. So even though the 10-8 by the grappler is way more dominant, the striking 10-8, just because he landed that one strike that didn't really change the fight necessarily that much. It dropped him, and he didn't even get hurt, let's say, to the point of there was no after punches. It's still a 10-8 round according to the judging scoring system. And that's something that should be considered, I think, and changed possibly. A round is to be scored 10-8 round when a contestant overwhelmingly dominates by striking or grappling in a round. Pretty simple. We talked about that. So 10-8, no problem. Let's go to number 4. A round is to be scored 10-7 when a contestant totally dominates by striking or grappling in a round. So an example of this would be 2 knockdowns or 3 knockdowns. In a round, 2 kickboxing style fighters are fighting and they're standing and fighter A knocks down fighter B with a clean punch. He gets up. Fighter A knocks down fighter B again with a clean hook. Then he pounces on him, hits him 4 times. The other guy scrambles, gets to his feet. Once we're getting these 2-3 knockdowns, that's when fights are to be scored 10-7. There needs to be more of these. This has been, going back to the Gray Maynard Frankie Edgar fight, where Frankie got rocked multiple times and came back to win the fight. That could have been a 10-7 round for Gray that first round, but he came back to win the fight in later rounds. So these 10-9s, 10-8s, 10-7s need to be considered a lot more and put into place. Alright, so we got K now. This is the last one. Judges shall use a sliding scale and recognize the length of time the fighters are either standing or on the ground as follows. Number 1. If the mixed martial arts artist spends a majority of the round on the canvas, then A. Effective grappling is weighed first, and B. Effective striking is weighed. Number 2. If the mixed martial artist spent a majority of the round standing, then effective striking is weighed first and effective grappling is then weighed. There we go. That's a little nicer to hear. So if it is a grappling style fight, that is weighed first. The grappling is more of the effective attack. If it is a striking style fight, the striking is weighed first. That is more of an effective style attack, and you look to that. But you also have to remember, if it's mostly striking and there is some takedowns, that does include some octagon control, and this is where judges are confused. This is where fights get a little dicey, and judges score fights, rounds completely wrong. And number 3, if a round ends with a relatively even amount of standing and canvas fighting, striking and grappling are weighed equally. So as I said before, they should be weighed equally. So it's not in that order, striking first, then grappling. It's striking and grappling, depending how the fight and where the fight is being taken place. So this judging criteria is found on the good old Google Internet. Go find it. Give it out to these judges. Why are we having card after card with crappy, pathetic, horrible decisions, losing Sweet Pete money, first of all, losing my wonderful 8 fans, but thousands and thousands of others who bet on MMA fights money, and you're taking away the dreams of these fighters. They're losing fights they shouldn't lose, and fighters are winning fights they shouldn't win. It is card after card. It is an issue. It is a problem, and it's making MMA irritating. This is not okay. The judging needs to be right. So according to this criteria, I think you can score judging pretty well and get the fights down pat. And this is what is given to these UFC judges. I don't understand why we're still having problems. Anyways, this is the judging. This is the criteria. I suggest everyone go read it themselves. Go over it. I'll have some picks coming up for the next UFC events. We got a couple coming up soon. It is, May 20... Sorry, guys. I should know this. May 28th today. Thursday we got a fight coming on Saturday, and then we got fights I think almost every week for the next month. So you have Sweet Pete picks coming up along with Sweet Pete pet peeves. All right, thank you. Bye.